the best feature of season 26. Get a bad map, go to Orek, and close it. Oh yeah, there we go. Hi guys, so yesterday I got an Orek stream. Today I want to talk a little bit about how the Orek stream is kind of a disappointment. So far I think I've had about 3 or so Orek streams, so it's kind of difficult to test them and see how good they actually are, but this one is really terrible. Let me show you why. So first of all, I'm playing Crusader build here. It is not very good at pulling stuff. It is not a ranged build at all. So the only way to pull stuff is to get close to them and of course to make them follow you. And we see the first map here is a desolate sands. But the issue with this map is that it's very big. So mobs are super much spread apart, which means you gotta go through all the corners to pull stuff around. So for this build here, which is completely pulling stuff either by the horrors or by physically going to them, pulling them, it is not very good. Now some builds are definitely much better for it. So for this build, I'm like, okay, we go and next floor. So we go here and get a cemetery. There's big booty spiders. You got some daikons, you got a few wild swarms. It's also not a good mob type. So we are in a map where you can't pull stuff. There's debris everywhere. You got a big mob type. So again, I'm struggling. I have a map where I can't kill things. I can't group stuff together. And now I also have a mob type that is not very good. So I go next floor again and I get another desert sands. Now I do get a better mob type here, but it is still super spread apart. It is very difficult for me to find the lead because most of them are kind of hiding in the corners. And for me to pull stuff around, I have to go close to them to actually make them follow you. And the AI for that is not very good in the game currently. I can make some decent pulls like this, but for an Orek stream, I feel like there should be something better. So I think to myself, I go next floor and I get something better, right? And I get another cemetery. Now granted, I do get dark here, which is a really good mob type, but again, I'm stuck in a cemetery where I can't pull stuff. The build has almost 0 pull abilities by itself, so I really need a good map where I can actually see things. I can see where mobs are, I can see where the elites are, where the pylons are, and I just can't do this in the cemetery. If you, for instance, compare this to a festering woods, you can see everything, right? You can see both the walls. You're following this corridor and there's just a bunch of enemies all over the place. Here, I got no clue where I'm going, where things are. So for my current build here, of course, there are some builds that can actually work with this, but for my build here, I can't really do much here. So I have to skip this one and go next again. And what do we get? We get another cemetery. And this is a decent mob type. And I do actually make some pretty decent progress in this map here since I have a shield pylon. But I feel like this loop here of just being stuck on cemeteries and distant sands, it's not very good at all. The issue with the cemetery is that it is decent progress. There is a good amount of monsters, but there's debris everywhere. There are gates, there are walkways, there are jars all over the place. It's just blocking you so you can't pull stuff around. This kind of pull here is basically the best you can make in this kind of map here because things are just so spread apart and there's so much debris in the way. So for a build like mine that can't really pull stuff, I don't play a barb, I don't have a spear where I can pull stuff around, this is kind of the best I can actually do with it. It's kind of disappointing. Another example of this is I have a power pylon here, but the elites that I have in the map are all stuck down here behind this gate. I have to go through all this and pull this stuff around this small corner, and it's a big elite, right? I need to bring this big elite with me and through all of this, and it is not easy at all. Now I do pull some stuff together and I do actually make some decent progress with the power pylon, so it's not too bad. But I feel like for an Orek stream, or I guess just a cemetery map in general, there should be more value. It should be easier. It should be better for more builds overall, and not just for builds that have inbuilt mechanics of how to pull enemies with you. So I scout through the map and look for actually good things and places to find monsters and elites, and there aren't really any place where I can actually make a big pull and get good progress. And since an Orek stream is something, you know, you use for an, let's say, a rank 1 clear, it just feels kind of underwhelming. So I go next map and I hope to find something good. Now we do get one of the best maps here. This and Festering Woods will be the best maps, period. Now the issue that I have with this map is that I get a mob type I just can't really play. It's my first time kind of playing this build and I'm not very tanky. I'm not very familiar with how to get the progress. I actually have ghosts here. I have skeletons, archers, I have ghosts. So I have a lot of ranged monsters that just attack me that I can't dodge at all. So my build, again, is struggling with what I have. I finally get a good map, but now I just have a mob type that is almost impossible to play without a shield pylon. So I can actually pull stuff a lot here. I can make really big pulls. The problem is the damage I take is just so overwhelming because of all the range guys, the ghosts just doing constant damage so you can't dodge at all. My build just can't function against it. So these monsters just farming me and just killing me all the time. So I'm just like, okay, you know what? I gotta go next. I need to find actually something I can play. I need a good map and a good mob type. So we go next floor and we get another desolate sands. Now the mob type is still good. This mob type is a good mob type for sure. But the issue is I just can't pull stuff around this map. It is way too large, it's way too broad. and there are just monsters hiding in the corners, the elites are in the corners. I just don't know where anything is. I don't know where the elites are. I don't know where the mobs are. So, and the only way for me to actually pull the mobs with me is for me to physically go there and pull them with me. And sure, for something like Barbarian with a pull or a range build like a water, it is a lot easier for sure. But I feel like for an Orek stream, it should not be like this. I'm basically stuck in a loop of cemetery and desolate sands. Right, I looked at 7 maps and 3 of them were cemeteries and 3 of them were desert sands, and 1 was actually a good map in the fields. There were no fish doings. I just feel it's kind of disappointing, right? Now granted, of course, it was my first time playing the build, so if I had more experience on the build itself, I could have probably cleared this. To me, it feels like an Orek stream where it's about a 200 to 300 key to find one. It should be better. There should be some kind of failsafe, so you have some mob types and some maps that work for every build. Out of 7 maps, getting 1 playable map should not be a thing, right? Because 200 keys is a lot. Someone who works a lot, I can maybe play the game for 5 to 7 hours a day, and spending maybe 1 or 2 of those hours farming keys, and then also of course some time looking for the Orek stream with to push for high clear. And then you get this kind of Orek stream. I just can't do anything, where a build just doesn't function at all. I'll be so disappointed if this was the Orek stream I got live in season 26 after fishing 200 300 keys. An Orek stream is something you fish for. It should be godlike, right? It should be amazing. It should be, you can push a rank 1, you can do incredible things that you can't do on any other kind of map. That's the idea of it, right? But this here, the maps I'm getting, I could have made more progress in just 1 single fish doing with a decent mob type, because I can see where mobs are, I can see where the elites are hiding, I can see the walls of the corridor I'm going through fish doing, and I can see everything and pull it together. Whereas here I'm just stuck in this endless loop of just maps that I just can't play. My build just doesn't function with it. I like the idea of the Orek stream so much. It is such a cool idea. It should, in my opinion, be less rare. It should occur more often. I think a 1 in 200 to 300 keys is way too rare. It should maybe like 1 in 100 or maybe even more common than that, so you can actually find them and actually push some really good things on it and see what your potential is for your build. And then there should also be some kind of failsafe. In my opinion, it shouldn't be completely random what maps you get, because to be fair, there is a big difference between a cemetery and a fish doing. So I think there should be a failsafe that at least map 3 and 6 something are at festering woods, because walking through a cemetery and a desolate sands and you have a good mob type, but you just can't make the pulls necessary to push for a high clear, it's just really disappointing. Especially for something that's supposed to be insane and godlike, something you fish for, and when you finally get it, you can do incredible things. So the concept of it is really good. I just feel like, of course, it should be polished, make it playable for every build. So there definitely some things to improve on in terms of the Orek stream and also the new maps. I feel like Cemetery and Desert Sands both need some rework in terms of progression, debris, how they actually function, where the monsters are hiding. Because currently those 2 maps actually only cater to a few very specific builds that have ways of pulling monsters. And a build like this completely just falls short of being able to actually do a whole lot of anything. Now this may seem like a fairly negative video overall. It is not like that at all. I am in love with this season. I think it's going to be one of the best seasons overall for the game, as there is a ton of really good quality of life improvements made. And the Orek stream is a really good implementation, but in terms of what I just described now, I feel like there's definitely some room for improvement. So what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments down below. Is it just me being weird, or is this actually a thing? Should there maybe be some changes to it to make it a bit more fair for every build? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see more from the season 26 PTR, then watch this video here, as I will be covering everything there is. So I hope to see you in that video. Peace out, everyone.